Harper Audio presents I Heart Hollywood by Lindsey Kelk, read by Cassandra Harwood. Chapter 1. The wedding was perfect. Just 10 people at City Hall, no hymns, no readings, no fuss. And then over to Alta in the West Village for the reception. Tiny candles flickered in the faces of my favourite people. Jenny, Vanessa, Erin, and Alex. God, he looked pretty in a suit. I made a mental note to get that boy a 3-piece more often. Like maybe at our wedding. No, bad Angela. Too soon to even think it. Dum-dum-de-dum. So you don't think I'm making a ridiculous mistake? Erin whispered over my shoulder, bringing me back with a bump. I mean, it can't be 6 months since I was telling you I would never get married again. I shook my head. Not at all. I glanced over at the new Mr. Erin, or Thomas as he was known to his friends, or that mad-hot piece of ass as he was known to Jenny. You wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't absolutely the right thing to do. Which it totally is, hello? Jenny Lopez swung in and planted a great big kiss on the bride, smudging MAC Ruby Woo lipstick all over her face. He's a super hot, super rich lawyer and super in love with you. I'm pretty sure they are the main 3 factors to take into consideration before you hitch your wagon. Plus, wow, classiest wagon ever. Even better than your last wedding. And way better than the one before that. My God, you were so rude. Erin playfully slapped Jenny's mass of chocolate brown curls. But you're so right. I couldn't not marry him. He's so sweet. Yeah, sweet. I'm totally only getting married when the guy can rent out my favorite restaurant for an entire Saturday evening. Jenny sighed and sank a full flute of champagne. Doesn't Thomas have any single friends? And I do mean single rich lawyer friends. I couldn't stop smiling. The last wedding I'd been to hadn't been such a roaring success. I had started the day as a blushing bridesmaid with a devoted fiancé, and ended up a high-heel-wielding handbreaker whose devoted fiancé was at it with some tart in the back of their Range Rover. After leaving everyone in the wedding party in tears and/or hospital, I had hot-footed it over to New York, only to be taken in by Jenny. An entire family, best friend and therapist all in one. It hadn't been a walk in Central Park, but I'd found my way eventually. A job blogging for the Look magazine, great friends, an actual life, all the things that had been missing for so long. As a hand slid around my waist and pulled me close, I was reminded of the other thing I'd found in New York. Alex Reed. So, this is the nicest wedding I think I've ever been to. He gently pressed his lips against my skin, and I have the hardest date here. Firstly, there are only 8 girls in the entire wedding, and secondly, it's still not even true, I said, turning to brush Alex's long black fringe out of his eyes. Erin looks stunning, Jenny is ridiculously pretty in that dress, and Vanessa, will you please just take the compliment? Alex shook his head. And I don't care what you say. There's not a girl in the whole city that could compare with you right now. I wrinkled my nose and accepted a kiss, silently thanking my lucky stars. We'd met just after I had arrived in New York and got far too serious, far too quickly. He had put the brakes on, and I had spent 6 months cooling my heels, pretending I wasn't ready to start dating but really wondering when it would be okay to call him. Eventually, I'd picked up the phone, cashed in all my karma chips, and thank God, Buddha and Marc Jacobs, he'd answered. Now I was just trying to have fun and ignore the constant burning feeling in my stomach, that this was it, that Alex was the one. There was no way I wanted a repeat performance of last time. I'd spent 10 years with my ex, and not once, not for a moment, had I felt so scared to lose him as I did when I lay wide awake at night, watching Alex sleep. For the last 2 months, he had been the most attentive, thoughtful, heartbreakingly wonderful boyfriend I could ever have imagined. He bought me little gifts, like the beautiful sunflower, my favourite flower, he'd brought to pin to my olive green Cynthia Rowley shift for the wedding. He surprised me with indoor picnics when I was on deadline, ran out to pick up breakfast before I woke up, and even trekked all the way over from Brooklyn to Manhattan with the handbag and keys I'd left at his apartment, as well as a huge hangover-friendly pizza when Jenny and I had both managed to lock ourselves out of our place at 3 a.m. We never did find out where Jenny had left the keys. But, most impressively, when I'd drunk far too much at
Sample complete. Ready to continue?